let's get right back to it. Hour number 3 on this Monday night. Yoichi Shimatsu, I think, is standing by somewhere. Let's find out if he's there. You there, Yoshi?
Yeah, I'm in the Rocky Mountain States right now, and preparing to get back toward Asia soon. Trying to get back because we got a lot of issues to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
We've had this shocking news out of Fukushima, the surge in radioactivity.
It's getting to the point now where they're really admitting shock, although I'm not sure how shocked that TEPCO really is, but the radiation levels there are so high now, they're really beyond belief. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, actually, they could be quite a bit higher. What it is that, they've been measuring around the top of the and midsection of the pressure chamber of the reactors, and this reactor 2. This is a reactor that started to melt down on March 12th, about let's say less than 20 hours after the earthquake and the tsunami. They evacuated the plant. In fact, all the workers were about to. In fact, the entire staff of the plant were about to abandon the plant and let it all melt down.
Yep,
they were going to run. Order them to stay on site, and there were Americans and Israelis there too. All the foreigners were ordered off to get out and go to Fukushima too. Actually, they went to Iwaki City. I mean, there's all these stories. They went back to hotels in Iwaki City because they didn't want them to suffer catastrophic effects, as I assume many people did there, which hasn't really been disclosed yet. It's still confidential. But anyway, what was discovered last week was that below the reactor 2, below the pressure chamber, this is basically a solid steel structure, a very thick steel structure. Yeah. They measured. There was a little opening below that where there was an iron grate. There's a steel grate, and there was a hole in the grate. This is directly below the pressure chamber. So in that grate, it was very warped, bent out of shape, and then there was a 2-meter diameter hole in it. So this thing's made out of steel, all right?
It's a 6-foot hole, right?
Yeah, a 6-foot hole is in this thing. A 6 foot across, in other words.
Diameter.
A pretty large hole there, yeah. As tall as a man. You can rotate a human being in that hole, okay? So basically that means something had to burn through there, right?
Something very intense,
and bend it. And so basically that meant the pressure chamber had been breached at the bottom, that the nuclear fuel had melted through it, caused this hole, and it proceeded down. Now, I've been looking at temperatures, I think the melting point, the zirconium, that cladding around the nuclear fuel, the uranium. This is uranium fuel there. That's had a higher melting point than steel, so about 1,400 degrees. 1,400 Celsius.
Actually 1,500, but yeah.
1,500 Celsius, and then steel about 1,1280, something like that. So, obviously the temperatures inside that pressure chamber were massive. The zirconium basically, there's only like tiny little, nano specks of it left. There's no solid pieces ever found, anything like that. So it just burned right through. This whole mass of nuclear fuel burned through, created a hole, probably, I would assume at least maybe a meter across, maybe more, and then hit this steel grill, float on top of it, and then pretty much quickly burned through. And then there's some pipes below that. There's some pipes below that and all kinds of structure, but nothing substantial, nothing like the pressure chamber itself. And then you get concrete. You get a couple of meters of concrete, which basically disintegrates under that kind of heat. And certainly the amount, we're talking about tons of fuel there.
Right.
It's going to just lay on there and just sort of,
melt its way through.
just eat its way through because it's just getting hotter and hotter all the time. There's no water in there, so it just is heating up. Now, why did this thing? Why is the radioactivity level going up there now in that region? Why didn't they detect it before? Well, it's because the winter months in Japan. November, the typhoon season ends in late October, so November, December, January are pretty dry months.
Uh-huh.
The ice wall is breached, so basically there's not much water now under the reactors. They're just sitting on kind of dry gravel, okay? The water is drained out. So when you don't have a lot of water to cool the nuclear fuel down there, the little particles of fuel, we're not talking about very much of it, okay, that got gummed up in the gravel on the way down here, or inside the containment, inside the containment region on the way down. Mm-hmm. Let's say lining the concrete base, okay, you have little pieces of uranium and various, radioactive metals, isotopes, sort of penetrating the concrete there and getting frozen in there. That stuff is going to heat up because there's not a lot of water below, and no matter how much they pump from on top, it would just sort of drain in and go out, and go out. So basically, you got some dry air down there, and so the thing's heating up. And as it heats up, it'll emit more and more radioactivity, okay? And then also, that will probably loosen a lot of the heat will start cracking a lot of particles, breaking apart the concrete and so on. So you got a lot more loose material there flying around.
But the bottom line here is that the structure is constantly it's decaying. It's
under attack.
Deconstructing.
Under attack.
Yeah,
under attack. So you have, and then you have this water pressure coming in and out. So there's a lot of physical pressure going on there. You have water pressure, corrosion. And then you have these dry spells now, increasing dry spells because the ice wall had failed, had broken apart. So we're seeing these extremes of dryness and heat. Then you put in water and water pressure. And then the gravel itself probably is being very much affected by all this. There's going to be shifting the gravel and so on. So basically, we're seeing the entire destabilization structure. Well, in a nutshell, after they found this, they didn't announce exactly what week they took these measurements, but in the last 10 days, they've the government of Japan has announced, or the Tokyo Electric National Regulatory Commission have announced that they're not going to attempt to remove any of the nuclear fuel from any of the reactors, including the ones that are supposedly not damaged, until 2021, the year 21. And that's a year after the Tokyo Olympics.
Right. And that's also a guess. It could end up being 2030. We don't know. They're just trying to put it off.
Basically, they had promised to remove everything before 2020.
Yes. Okay? Yes.
You see,
yes.
So the Olympics would be safe.
Of course.
And all that.
Yeah.
Now we got these nuclear bombs there on site. 6 nuclear bombs. 3 of them have detonated or emitting radiation. 3 others ready to go on site during the Tokyo Olympics. And we're seeing the same process is going to go on. More and more of this material is going to flood into the Pacific. And when it gets that hot down below, it's going to basically increase temperatures inside those buildings. As this process continues, the temperature inside those buildings. So you're going to get heat columns coming up, leaking out through wherever the buildings are. And these buildings are in terrible shape if you see the top of them. And so you're going to see more atmospheric radioactivity to these particles. They're going to push their ways up.
Yeah, we have
and then also the soil out. There's soil outside. You got to remember. There's gravel outside. Mm-hmm. All this is sitting on gravel, and the gravel is not going to block. As the radioactivity heats up in the wintertime, the dry season, the radioactivity, the steam and whatever is going to rise into the air all around the plant. It's not just through the plant, but all around.
No, it's coming up from the whole area. We have Dana Durnford standing by. Dana has been a great contributor to our understanding of what has been done to the Pacific, the entire Pacific Ocean. It's gotten to be so bad now that the, quote, authorities had to admit about 4 weeks ago now that, some of the fish and the water and other portions of the eastern Pacific, right along the Oregon and Washington coast, are really full of radiation. Gosh, and then we found out that not only are the tide pools up in British Columbia gone, but they're gone in Central and Southern California now, just as we predicted. All this was predicted. Dana was the man who found it, physically documented it, and paid a terrible price for it, but he's back with us tonight once again. Dana, welcome back.
Thanks, Jeff. Hi, Yoshi. Hi, folks.
Hey there.
Yeah, like that earthquake they had on the 28th of December, I think that had a lot to do with it. That was a 9.0.
It was a huge earthquake. Huge.
Yeah.
And nobody talked about it.
Very close in, too. Very close to Fukushima, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was on land, and it was only 6 miles down. It was really shallow. And they had a lot of aftershocks that were emblematic of those types of earthquakes, right? That was a 9, right? And it was on
I'm
land.
surprised it didn't knock down some of those old buildings. Old in the sense that they're being destroyed all the time with radiation.
Well, too, I was told back then that it was that's when it happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I come out about it, but yeah, we got headlines coming out now. Humans will be extinct in about 9 years. It showed up on RT just a couple hours ago.
Whoa. Humans, what, all in Northern Hemisphere?
Could be extinct in 9 years.
The planet?
The whole planet, yeah. The Arctic Ocean is heating up faster than anybody can work out. It's 56 degrees by the end of this month, hotter than it was in 2000.
Wow.
And now, so this is something they're claiming, but this is
so somebody's speculating that 9 years and the planet will be a graveyard.
Anytime a scientist comes out with anything now, I'm very highly suspect.
That's a pretty big thing. RT is usually pretty responsible. Here's another issue: a sievert. 8 sieverts is fatal. You die. You get exposed to 8 sieverts.
Well, that would be instantaneous.
That would be. You're gone. I mean, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead. You know what the levels are in the destroyed plant in reactor 2 that they're reading? Not 8, 530 per hour sieverts. This is so huge, and as you say, Yoshi, it could be bigger. But
yeah, it melts your organs right on the spot, is what it does.
You're gone.
You seen that after Hiroshima? The women just that survived sat down, squatted out, and excreted their uteruses, and then fell over and died within 5 or 10 minutes. But their organs had melted inside of them. It was horrific, obviously, probably too much detail for people, but that is the reality that the homeless and the destitute and victims of society, the immigrants, are going through at Japan's reactors right now, because it ain't Harvard or Yale or Berkeley or Stanford or Oxford. It's homeless and destitute, right?
If any of you listening are involved with the Olympics, don't be involved with the Olympics. Don't go. It's not worth
foolish.
it. Very foolish.
It's foolish just to even consider it. I can't believe they're doing it.
It is mind-boggling. It's all part and parcel of the cover-up. And Mr. Trump, again, with your new EPA director, are you going to talk about radiation and Fukushima? Are you going to tell us what we're being covered with all the time, one way or another? Are you going to tell us what's going to happen to the Northern Hemisphere? Or are you going to do the same thing that everyone else does and lie about it? The lie of omission. What are you going to do?
Well, we got to give these fellows a chance. There's still, I think one of the real problems is this Obama Democrats stay behind operation where they're trying to prevent the government from operating. And, one of the targets obviously will be contested areas, will be the Department of Energy and the EPA. EPA because of the climate change. I hate to say the word hoax, but the grossly exaggerated climate change theory that they pinned everything on.
Yeah.
So that is just delaying action, any kind of action from the Trump side, or an ability to create a policy, an ability to create a program. So, this is just a terrible. As I thought about it, in fact, I was thinking about it today. I can't think of a president worse than Obama, because he's allowed this situation in Fukushima, just to fester under his administration.
He's enabled
and now,
yes.
Yeah, and now he is all his supporters is sort of, and I have to say, have to call them mindless supporters. I mean, it's not about politics. It's about that they're just sort of. Mm-hmm. It looks like mind control to me. They're just like a chorus of people who don't know what they're really talking about, don't realize where the real threats are coming out. They're inventing threats to sexuality or something, which, those things are irrelevant compared to what we've just been talking about. And we've got to take action, and we're just frittering away the days, the hours, the weeks, whatever. And we can't afford to do that. As Dana just said, there are people suggesting we got less than a decade to go, okay? And, and we've got to solve this problem in half that time. Otherwise, it's going to be way. It's really gotten away, and maybe we've got one last shot. It's something like the Super Bowl, okay? Maybe there's one last shot for the Patriots to turn this thing around. But if we go down any further, it's going to be over.
Biologically, Dana, what's the latest? What are we getting from the fishermen and so forth? Have a lot of them just given it up now? Fishing boats for sale, half price, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, the dead whales all over Hawaii compared to any other year, normally 2, they got 4 to 6. 6, they're checking the whales right away to see if they starved to death for some reason instead of other, like, were they injured or were they sick, parasites or something like that. Now it's right to I wonder, did they starve to death? Because that seems to be the norm. And, the ocean's going silent for the years out. I say it nonchalant, I know. It's not. Trust me, folks. It's just, I'm at this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And, the lawyers and the manipulators, now the big story today, I can't comment on it because I got gag orders, so I got to go see a judge every time I want to comment on the biggest stories.
Can you tell me what the topic is, and maybe we can comment on it or look it up?
Yeah, or TV reporter. Even that is.
Just email
construed.
Email.
That could be construed as.
All right. Yeah.
That's shocking. Right? That's what a gag order is. It's like you can't.
Yeah.
You don't have your freedom. In many ways, but that's the extreme of extremes, because they know this is an extinction event, and that I done that entire coastline. I not only showed a fish, but that nursery is gone, and the insects are gone, the birds are gone.
What did you say about a silent forest? It's forests are silent now.
Right, and I used to go and get a bath every day on those expeditions in the different estuaries and streams now, and there are no spider webs, no sounds, no birds hunting around, and it was really something not to have that diversity that you normally brushing off the insects and everything else.
Sure,
it's just naked. And now here we are, just a couple years later, after everything's said and done, and I'm seeing all these headlines right now that are just wow. Sick and starving animals everywhere. Every week, more and more massive stories about sick and starving. It's always starving. And how does a killer whale starve to get to death? No, it's just.
There's nothing for them to eat. And what they've been doing is eating eminently contaminated food that they normally eat because they're higher up in the food chain. So they pick up from the smaller animals a constant input of accumulative radiation, and then by the time they end up as food for killer whales, it's a heavy dose, and it doesn't take long for the dosage levels to accrue to the point that the killer whales start to starve, and they have massive system failure breakdowns.
These are electrically charged. All these isotopes are electrically charged or pulsing in your body, and your body is electrically charged. And so that's why we see a lot of these heart attacks and a lot of these weird diseases, because your body attacks it differently than it would a normal pathogen or a virus or something. Yeah, no, go ahead. Yoshi was going to jump in there earlier.
Well, about your case, Dana, I think, first, just on a political level, it's very ironic that Justin Trudeau is just giving carte blanche to invite immigrants who are heading to the United States, invite them to Canada, while a Canadian citizen like yourself has been practically, deprived of, you have been deprived of your right to speak on issues of life and death for all of the people of Canada, Canadians.
All the people of the world.
I know, this is
By
so
extension.
ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to invite all these people over from Syria, okay, to Canada, but Canadian citizens can't talk about what's killing them. I mean, does this make any sense at all? And then on top of that, I think, Jeff, I sent you that story on Cameco. Did you see that thing?
Not
The
yet.
stock prices fell.
No. When did you send it?
Just recently, early, a couple hours
Right.
ago. But the-
TEPCO canceled the uranium
Exactly.
from Canada. Right? Go ahead, Yoshi.
No, you go ahead, because I don't have that story right in front of me.
Send
If you
it.
have that-
So what happened?
I'm
what
not
happened
seeing it,
was
Yoshi. Send it.
Cameco
Yeah,
put out-
okay, there's some
Cameco's
data.
shares
There's
went
some
down
da-
12%, right? Cameco's shares went down
I think
12% last week,
17%.
and
If
then
you
kept
have
going
that
down.
story, you can see the fantastic amount of uranium TEPCO was
They got
going to... incredible. Yeah, the stock prices fell on February 1st because TEPCO canceled its order for uranium. I think this has something to do with the fact that, I mean, they're like gasping at what they're seeing, because TEPCO is, planning to supply nuclear fuel to many other reactors around the world, okay, and in Japan, and suddenly they've canceled that order because they realize right now, it seems that they're starting to realize that nuclear power is doomed. After they took that reading there, this recent reading, they realized this news is just too bad, and they can't solve the situation. Yeah.
No.
So,
No.
and anyway, if you can post that story, you see the incredible amount of uranium TEPCO was prepared to buy. And right now, Canada, which is the second largest nuclear producer, apparently the bottom has fallen out of the price of uranium. Nobody wants it.
I don't have that story. Would you please resend it?
Yeah, I'll have to resend it to you. Yeah, it was from Motley Fool. It was just a financial story from Motley Fool, but it was really grim for Cameco. And I hate to say it, the government of Canada, they did this to themselves. They should have faced this thing. Justin Trudeau should not have gone along with gagging people, trying to intimidate people by gagging Dana Dernsburg, that he should have accepted the facts as they laid and have this as a national debate. Because right now, it looks like Trudeau has completely mismanaged this whole situation, and Canadian nuclear industry is going to collapse. All those workers are going to get laid off. There's going to be stockpiles of uranium all over Canada, and they don't know what to do with it, okay? So this is going to be a disaster for Trudeau.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. He
does. Hold on just a minute. We'll come right back. Indeed, there is an RT story. I had to look it up. It's on YouTube now, that they're saying humans could be extinct in 9 years. The Arctic Ocean is heating up faster than the rest of the planet Earth, scientists say. Temperatures over part of it will increase by as much as... What? Temperatures over parts of it, assuming they mean the Earth, will increase by as much as 54 degrees Fahrenheit this month? Seems a bit much.
Yeah.
Repeat
there's no
that.
winter. There's no winter up there. It's melting like crazy. There's no winter going on.
I can only read part of it. I can't get to the show more yet. It says the Arctic Ocean is heating up faster than the rest of the Earth. Temperatures over parts of it, meaning the Arctic Ocean, will increase by as much as 54 degrees Fahrenheit this month. Now,
over the annual average,
Yoshi,
the annual average is like way below zero.
Let me do this. Hold on. Let me play this just a little bit.
In Arctic temperatures. Simone, what's causing this is a variety of different types of feedback. Now, for example, when there is a lot of snow and ice, what happens is sunlight reflects back into the atmosphere. But as ice and snow begin to melt, we see the water increasing in temperature because it's absorbing more sunlight.
All right. So anyway, they're not mentioning any radiation there, talking about melting.
One very simple fact is it's the Arctic winter there. There is no sunlight. It's dark. Okay? So the sun is not a factor. What is happening is we're getting a lot more because the ozone hole is gone. Fukushima burned it off. The fact is that there's a massive amount of tritium, tritiated water there from Fukushima, massive amount of radioactive isotopes. But the fact is that much more cosmic radiation is also charging down because there's no ozone hole. There's no ozone up there anymore. So something, it's not the sun. It's not what you call a light. It's not, photons that are bombarding the Arctic right now and making it warm. It's all the other radiation between
it's
the
causing the melting. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, the man-made radioactivity or the man-enhanced radioactivity, which has also allowed all this cosmic radiation to come down.
Here's a bit more. Let's see if I can get some more out of this.
And what this does is it causes temperatures to get closer between the Arctic and the equator. As a result, wind and storm patterns change, as can the direction of sea currents, which only works to pull warmer water and air into the Arctic. And this further heats up temperatures. The most dangerous thing about all of this is that it actually causes methane to escape from the Arctic seafloor into the atmosphere. And that's because carbon is usually absorbed and stored in frozen soil. But as that soil melts, methane is able to escape. And because carbon dioxide emissions don't reach their greatest impact for 10 years after they're released, we've really yet to see these effects. And all of this feedback could raise the global temperature 18 degrees Fahrenheit above pre-industrial levels, all by the year 2026. So without climate action, scientists are now warning that, quote, within just 1 decade, the combined impact of extreme weather, falls in soil and air quality, habitat loss, shortages of food, water, shelter, and all of the basic things we need to sustain life can threaten most, if not all, life on Earth with extinction. Now, at the end of 2016, temperatures at the North Pole were 8 times higher than average temperature increases across the globe. And this month, in February, the forecast shows that parts of the Arctic Ocean will be 54 degrees Fahrenheit higher than they were between the years 1979 and 2000. And this is something that is shocking for an area of the world that doesn't get a lot of sunlight at this time of year, Simone.
It really is shocking, Brigitte. Okay, so we have a clear problem here. Now we need a plan. Do scientists recommend anything?
They do. So, of course, they
move to
recommend
Mars.
international climate action, much like the Paris Agreement. However, the problem with that is that at the end of last year, global temperatures were well over the 2.7 degree Fahrenheit guardrail that were set by the Paris Agreement. So the scientists here at the Arctic News blog, who are covering this topic extensively, say that individual nations, states, and governments really need to do their part in setting their own parameters and guidelines for controlling greenhouse gases. They're also talking about implementing something similar to a carbon tax, which they call a feed-bait system.
All right, that's enough. Carbon tax, come on. What do they keep playing games?
Yeah, carbon is merely the after effect, right? It's just
Exactly.
like a byproduct.
Sure.
It's meaningless. It's meaningless.
It's the exhaust.
Exactly. You got the flames going. You got to turn off the flames, and the flames happen to be Fukushima right now, and all the other nuclear plants around the world.
Yeah, let's do a carbon tax. That'll solve the problem. What idiots!
Ridiculous. Yeah, it'll just make it paralyze us from doing anything else. No, the money's got. We need an anti-nuclear tax. Is what we need to shut down. A decommissioning tax. That's what we need.
Right. If we were to shut down every nuclear reactor right now on the planet, we'd still have the almost insurmountable task of trying to manage the radioactive fuel, the spent fuel that's there. I don't know. Dana?
Yeah, we got to get back to the old days right away, or we're in trouble, is the reality anyway, because we have to relearn all of these skills, because it's all going to fall apart. The pensions are all going to disappear in the next, long before
That's right.
It's going to play out. Everything is so irradiated. I think what happened up there was the life got killed off right away, and this is you can't ignore the emaciated polar bears much longer. The death of all the whales are going to be symmetrical, obviously, by that story, and all the mammals too, right? So it's coming to fruition. The worst nightmare, our worst fears, are now finally starting to manifest clearly for everybody else, and it's being misdirected and just keep people fighting, divided. But it is Fukushima, like Yoshi was saying, like you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I got that figure on Cameco. This is just like astounding. This is like just an economic report.
Mm-hmm.
You know, had Fukushima not happened, okay, the contract signed between Tokyo Electric Power and Cameco, the Canadian state company, was for between the years 2017, this year, through 2028. That's an 11-year period. They were going to buy 9.3 billion pounds of uranium, and that's something like I think 4 million. Gosh, am I right? 400,000 or 400? Yeah, 400,000. No, 4 million tons of uranium. This is insane.
That is totally insane. Yeah.
Yeah, what they're doing, they're taking the deadly stuff out of the ground. I mean, in a certain sense, there is sort of a silver lining on Fukushima that prevented them from taking 9.3 billion more pounds of this stuff and releasing it into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
This is insanity. Is insanity. And now these people, what really bothers me, a lot of people have the temerity to call Donald Trump some sort of Holocaust perpetrator, something like this, okay, Nazis and all this stuff. What do they call TEPCO? They're not even made. I mean, who's killing what? All
TEPCO did was destroy the entire northern hemisphere, right?
Yeah, and all the animals and all the humans. I mean, and they're not Nazis? No, they don't exist. They don't matter. What matters is this American president with strange hair. I mean, this is crazy, these people. I mean,
they are crazy, lunatics, totally.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to pay attention to this. We can't talk about carbon taxes. What are these people thinking is going on? And Dana's right there. I mean, he's served up so much proof. I think a lot of Canadians, and certainly people in the northern states of the United States, certainly have listened to him, considered his opinion, and respected and realized that's probably right. That's probably right as compared to everything else. So, it's not like we don't have some sort of consensus there that we've got to deal with this nuclear issue. And you got a gag going on from a government that's gone broke, that just lost.
There are three that I know of only three people who are constantly trying to educate the world about what's coming. And Dana is one of them. And they cut off 1/3 of the information source, or at least cut it back. Go to his
website.
Yeah, please go to his website.
Up there. Look. Which one of us is closest to this Arctic Circle physically, geographically, experientially, closest to the stuff you just heard on the radio about the Arctic Circle, okay? It's Dana up there, right? He's closer to the Arctic Circle than Stuart.
He's the man.
Canada is an Arctic country, right? We need Dana there. There's only 5 Arctic countries. We need Dana up there. We don't have people in Alaska because what Obama did, right? Obama did. Denmark's not doing anything. The Norwegians are dead silent. So, and now the Russians are speaking up a bit because they're concerned. But the other great country's got to be Canada. If we had some responsible leadership there that would get the news off of Dana, let them talk, let them go up there. I don't understand why they don't just, give them a Canadian RAF airplane and scientific runs. Go to the Arctic and find out what's going on, Dana. Right?
Yeah.
They should. They should. They should set me free. They should set me free.
On the Pacific.
They should set me loose up on the people that put us in this boat. Don't mind me yelling, but they should set me free. You're absolutely right, man. If you want to get revenge upon what they done to this planet, they need to empower me, set me up on these critters. I'll go get them, man. Trust me. I'll spend the rest of my life. I'll make their life. You can sit back and say, well, at least we got them all. Because nobody else might be able to do it, but I could. I can get them. I know who they are.
You have to, because I wouldn't want David Suzuki up there. He'll be, what do you call
that's a good one.
popcorn up there. I don't know what he'll be selling up there. He'll be selling something.
He'd be shilling.
Shilling, yeah. So, shilling for shillings. Yeah, exactly. So Dave is the man to get up there, at least to help, set an ethical, moral standard for science, for all the other scientists, and a standard of courage. We got to get out there, And that's Canada. I'm not a Canadian citizen.
See, this is what we're talking about is enormously. It's the most important question of all. And what are we seeing? What are we seeing in the headlines? Come on. Israeli MPs vote to legalize 4,000 more settler homes in the West Bank. This is a continuing extermination of Palestine. We know that's going to happen. That's bad. That's tragic. Okay. And then the next story: U.S. tanks and infantry and fighting vehicles arrive in Estonia amid NATO buildup on Russian borders. There's another very big and important story. What does it mean? Where is Mr. Trump? Why isn't he withdrawing American troops, tanks, and soldier battalions? What is going on? So he's supposed to be a peace president. We're not seeing that. These are big stories, okay? But the biggest story of all is...
I just have to say, he's not yet really in control of the government. The government is operating.
Well, why would they let him become in control of it?
Zombies.
I don't think they're going to let him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is really tough. They don't, they want to destroy. My conclusion is Obama and company, Soros and all, they want to destroy this planet. They want to kill everyone. This has been their agenda. The European crisis. Look at everything they've done. They've done nothing on nuclear except to sabotage it.
Nothing.
And they're still essentially in control. They have all their mindless bureaucrats running the federal government, many state governments, key state governments like Washington State, where I just was, where the governor there is talking about immigrants. I mean, Washington State's got Hanford. It's got the stuff from Fukushima. It's suffering, and they're talking about allowing more immigrants into Washington State. Right. Give me a break. Give me a break. That's not an issue. That's not an issue.
Couldn't agree more. Have you seen anything, Dana, biologically that would take the curve off its inexorable track down slope? The graph is going down, down, and down. I don't know how much more we have to put up with this being lied to by the media about the death of the Pacific Ocean. It's gone. I mean, there's nothing there. Some of these tide pools in Southern California now is just rocks and water. Same thing you saw up there 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Same thing. Why won't people wake up? I can answer. It's a rhetorical statement. They don't want to face reality, okay? It's better to deny. Just deny. And they're only too happy to go along with it. Anyway, it's very sad. What can we do?
It's a mental block. It's a mental block that people got, Yoshi.
They're afraid. They don't want to hear about it. Don't bother me with the truth,
No, that's right. No, it's a mental... I think it's an immature thing where people are addicted to they're conditioned, acclimated.
Well, they're just getting to be dumber and dumber, let's be honest, sadly. Or let's just say institutionalized to be stupid. It's not their fault. They're just not given intellectual stimuli anymore.
If it was your child on the street and they seen a car coming and going to hit their child, they get it together in a heartbeat. They have that reflex. Everything else, right? Yeah. But because if everybody else's child, they see it, they can't recognize it. They have to visually impact them, maybe, I don't know. But everybody brings their friends and loved ones to the hospital and they get treated by cancer. 97% of them dies before they would have without the treatment, and they still don't get it. Still doing it every day, and the staff is so numb to the misery machine that they turn into zombies themselves.
That's an interesting point. The staff, they become numb to the misery around them. What a life! Can you imagine? No, I can't.
Well, you go in there with all these hopes and dreams, but
Yeah.
Everybody around you is already defeated, right? So, kind of environment.
Well,
go ahead, Josh.
It's a month away from the anniversary, 6th anniversary of the Fukushima events. Yeah. So I suggest that we're going to have to get back on. I only caught the end of the Super Bowl. When the Patriots and Tom Brady were down by 25 points. Okay, and it looked absolutely hopeless that they were blown out. That Brady has to quit. The Patriots will never be a great team again. And they came back and won it, okay? And I think we've got to learn from that kind of, the game ain't over till it's over. And I told one of my kids in my family that, this is what it means to be a veteran, to be a pro, to have experience. Even when it looks hopeless, you can still pull yourself together and do it another time. And I think that's important for people like us and all the other anti-nuclear critics, is that this bad news at the end of year 5 is sort of signal we've got to get back in the game again, and we got to start winning, and we can't let this thing get away from us. So I just feel we've got this month ahead. Let's make it really big for this anniversary, somehow, 6th anniversary.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's give it our best shot.
If Dana, if you were to come down to the States, are you still under a gag order, or could you come on this program from California, Nevada, or somewhere and be free to talk? What is the limit of your gag order?
I got to see a judge to actually work that out.
Is this a worldwide gag order?
Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was my take on it anyway. Canadian courts, you don't want to... Like, these people are obviously intent on shutting me up on certain topics, right? And they don't want me talking about it at all costs. They've dragged me, 14, 15 hotel rooms and 14 or 15 ferries, and then, all that travel and miles on the vehicle and in the courtroom over and over and over.
Yeah.
And just this whole nonsense where 18 lawyers don't return my phone call or accept the case but won't take it, and ultimately end up with no lawyer, only this walking useless shell that I ended up with for a couple of hours, and then denied the ability, or it was a total setup, and then was called a lawyer, and that I was completely uncredible, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, totally dismissed the evidence, wouldn't accept the evidence.
Well, now, a lot of those people are going to die.
I challenged them.
Okay.
Yeah, I challenged them. It's going to come back and bite them real bad.
Right.
And they know that. I'm pretty sure at this stage, they didn't understand what they were doing, the significance of it originally, I don't think. I think they were just good old boys, willing to do whatever, right? And useful idiots, so to speak. But I think now that once the trial was over, I think they understood the enormity of what just took place and what they had really done, and the significance of the people that they, what they had done to me was truly a crime. It was an absolute betrayal, and it's something that I can't shake no matter what, with that emotion that it is a betrayal, and I was betrayed. The
betrayal of every man, woman, and child.
The whole way through. I feel that even today, even when I go probation officer here, I'm very vocal about that immediately, right? I immediately tell them that I feel like I'm betrayed by just being here today, and I'm not comfortable seeing you or being here with you or having to show up here, and it's humiliating, and I don't deserve it. And I really, that's my chance to let my emotions out.
Right.
And they shouldn't have took the job, but they hear it every time from me, and there's no way they can win against me. They know that. And
of course not. You have the facts on your side.
I won't give it up. No. I'm so adamant. There is no. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed that they exist, and they're doing what they're doing to me again. Right. It really does upset me that I won't. This is the reason why I can't reach to people, is because I'm stemmed. I have these gag orders, and I'm being withheld. I'm holding myself back because of it, and I'm not able to talk or get out or the way I should be able to. And they're winning, but I can't let them win. Yeah, we have an extinction event. It's going to get worse each year, and we need to protect ourselves. We need to prepare for the worst. We need to get out of harm's way, and we need to have those options at least. And like you say, that's why we're here.
Well, you'd think we have certain inalienable God-given rights to know of the dangers around us. But apparently we don't. Not anymore. So we have to deal with what we have to deal. Dana, you take care. Get some rest. Thank you for everything. I know you're working under tremendous ordeal.
Hang in there.
Awful. Yeah. Don't quit.
Hugs for everybody. Take care, folks.
Thanks, Dana. All right.
Yep.
It's a very difficult thing to deal with emotionally when you have so much truth that all the people, even the bad people, have a right to know. All right. They're punishing themselves.
Clobbered with billions of dollars of lost income from Tokyo Electric Power. They're not going to be able to sell their uranium.
Right.
They're going to drop the price of uranium. They did all this stuff to Dana. They did this huge cover-up. They allowed all the animals to die. They allowed all the people to get sick. And now, what do they have to gain for it? What did they gain from it? Nothing. The price of uranium is plummeted. They're going to go broke and be stuck with a uranium industry that's on the ropes that they cannot afford to save. It's going to cost them and cost them and cost them until they bankrupt their whole country. This is the price of being an idiot, okay? A nuclear idiot.
You got it. All right, my friend. See you next time. You take care.
All right. Very good. Very good.
Right. And that's our program for you. That's all true, and it's that bad and worse. Gosh, I hate bringing bad news forward, but I've got to. It's many people will never hear this anywhere else. Okay, back with you tomorrow night. Take care.
Institute that radioactive hot particles had been found at
Well, breaking right now, radiation levels inside a Fukushima nuclear power plant damaged by that tsunami nearly 6 years ago is now at their highest point since that disaster. And experts believe melted fuel is leaking inside the plant almost daily, causing radiation levels high enough to kill a human being with just brief exposure. The latest readings now posing a serious challenge as officials prepare to dismantle the facility. Adam Housley, who covered that triple meltdown in Fukushima back in 2011, is following this story, and he joins us live with more. Adam?
Yeah, Jenna, hard to believe it's been nearly 6 years, and when we initially covered that, it was that great video that came in that really showed the destruction that Japan had to endure from the earthquake and the tsunami, but no one knew at the time the growing threat, which today continues to only get worse. That was the tsunami that took out the cooling system at Fukushima that basically caused the meltdown of 3 reactors that continues to this day. In fact, we're told the most recent numbers due to those meltdowns that nearly 300 tons of radioactive water is dumped into the Pacific Ocean each and every day. The radiation levels, in fact, inside are now the highest level since 2011. Tokyo Electric Power Company, TEPCO, which is in charge of this area, reports that the radiation level has reached 530 sieverts per hour. To give you an example, it used to be 73 per hour. For people that don't know this stuff, let's put it into very simple terms. 4 sieverts can kill a handful of people. Right now, 530 per hour are being detected there. According to scientists, that's unimaginable radiation levels. A robot was sent in. It only lasted an hour before radiation took it out, basically ruined it. It found a 6-foot gaping hole inside that somehow has to be patched. Now, due to this high level of radiation, the company assures the public everything will be fine, but we've heard this information from Japan before. There's been criticism even back 6 years ago when this first happened that Japan wasn't giving all the information out. We do know this. They say it will take at least $300 billion and 4 decades to finally fix this area. It's the worst since the 1986 Chernobyl disaster. Again, also, as we get more numbers coming in, Jenna, to keep this in mind as well, they say that right now there's still radiation being detected off the coast of California and Oregon. Now, it's very small, but the worry is with 300 tons of radioactive water going in every day to the Pacific, what is that doing to the Pacific Ocean, Jenna?
Wow, it's a crazy story, Adam. And I remember all your reporting. You did such a great job there. You posted all the photos that you took and the time that you spent in Japan. Right. From your experience there on the ground and the precautions that you had to take simply as a journalist, I mean, what do you think about this?
Well, we were only got within 90 miles because we had protective gear, but, we didn't know what we were dealing with. And that was one of the biggest complaints. Even the U.S. military was complaining to the Japanese government at the time. They weren't getting the true numbers. And what some people are saying is, has it been this bad from the beginning? And how are you going to fix this 6-foot hole? I mean, a robot only lasted an hour or so because the radiation level is so high. And we really don't all know also what this radioactive water is doing to the Pacific, Jen. And I think a lot of people are very concerned about that. They continue to monitor fish off of Japan. There's still areas you're not allowed to fish in, but that water, as we know, moves towards the west coast of the U.S.
I haven't thought about it for several years, and now certainly we are. We're going to have to follow up on this. Adam, thank you.